somebody tell him that we are on?
I did.
Oh my, thank you. Hey, Facebook, it's your girl, Anajavette. This is the Fly Nubian Queen page, Facebook page. We also have a network. Make sure that you go and check that out. www.flynubianqueen.com. Go and subscribe to the platform. But if you're here and you're tuning into this Queen's Roundtable, like this page, share this live with your family and friends because they're going to get something out of it. Normally you see us for the Queen's Roundtable on Fridays at 3 o'clock, but this week there is so much good stuff happening, so many good things going on. This is literally our second live this week because there's so much good content and so many good things happening in the world. Today's discussion, I'm gonna give it a small semi-disclaimer and ask that everybody be respectful of the commentary today, but we should be respectful as kings and queens with each other and to each other anyways, just on GP. Now, I say that to say this. These are various queens that contribute content to the Fly Nubian Queen page. I'm gonna let everyone go around and do a quick introduction of themselves so you can kind of learn more about them and what they actually do on the Fly Nubian Queen page so that you can get, relate to some of the content that they might be producing on the FAQ or the Fly Nubian Queen page, okay? We're gonna start with Dr. Shauna and then go around the room very quickly. Are you on mute? There you go.
That's what. Hey guys, it's your girl, Dr. Shauna here on Fly Nubian Queen. I am an Afrocentric couples therapist, a licensed clinician in the state of New Jersey, and I'm also a content contributor here on Fly Nubian Queen.
All right, go ahead, Sherry.
Unmute myself. Hi, I'm Sherry B. I contribute with my fabulous flavors, so you'll see me doing a lot of cooking, but I'm also a certified social studies teacher. So you'll get some of my teacher / historian perspectives.
Nice. Who's next? So I see. Hey, Michelle, you go ahead.
All right, it's your girl, Michi X, and I'm also a contributor at FlyNubianQueen.com. I'm a pro-Black activist and spoken word poet. And the thing that I offer to FlyNubianQueen.com is we talk about some of the issues like what we're gonna talk about today, right? And not only talk about them, but come to some solutions in the Black community.
Awesome. All right, go ahead, Naturally Trees.
Hi, my name is Patrice, also known as Naturally Trees. I'm the owner of BlackBossyHair.net, and I'm also the daughter of Dr. Boyce Watkins. And I am really excited to have this discussion today.
Awesome. And Nicole, go ahead.
Hi, everybody. I am Nicole Compton. I am a Christian author, attorney, and motivational speaker, as well as an entrepreneurial coach and consultant here on Fly Nubian Queen. And you all are in for a great topic.
Yes, it's got to be a great topic. Okay, so let's just jump in. So we were having a private dialogue. We don't just contribute content, we are queenly, right? We have sisterhood, and so we communicate. We ask about each other's opinions. There we go. We ask about each other's opinions. And we give each other feedback. And if you tune into Fly Nubian Queen, you know that each one of us has our own opinions and we're opinionated, etc. Right? So we're having this great conversation and we're like, let's have this conversation with the world. Let's have this conversation in public because it needs to be had. Today's conversation is entitled, "Is Immigration a Black Issue? Black Children are Snatched from Their Parents Daily." And the conversation was based around, should we as Black people be concerned about what's happening with the immigration situation with regards to this children, with regards to children being snatched from their parents, right? And there are various opinions about this subject and this topic. I'm gonna let, Sherry, do you wanna start?
Okay, since I'm the troublemaker of the group, I'm the self-proclaimed troublemaker.
Let's say this. I want to give everybody an opportunity to give their opinion before we dive in. That way, you're not necessarily a troublemaker. Let's go around the room so that everybody can say their opinion, and then we'll dive into it.
Okay. So here today we were having a conversation, and Dr. Boyce Watkins came in, and he had said that he had done a live about the immigration issue and how he didn't really care about what was going on with the immigrant children because there are so many Black children who are being removed from their families daily. And I am of the opinion that I have an issue with any children who are being put into harmful situations needlessly, regardless of color. So I believe that we should care about what's happening to the immigrant children to harmful situations needlessly. Wait a minute, hold on, I gotta turn something down here. Okay. As well as we should absolutely care about what's happening with our Black children in the Black community. I don't think that they need to be exclusive, you know, like one or the other. I believe you can care about both. They're kids. So that's it.
All right. Patrice, go ahead.
I would have to say that I totally disagree. And the reason why I disagree is because, Sherry, of all people, you are a cook. You are a fabulous cook, and you make some fabulous meals that I love to mock. But just because you have fried chicken, macaroni and cheese, corn, and mashed potatoes on your plate, that does not mean that you throw it in a blender and put it in a cup and drink that shit. You eat it separately. You eat what you like first, and then you eat what you like second, and then you eat what you like third. And the only reason why you eat what you like first is because it's your favorite. So I think that this country has done a wonderful job of using favoritism, so why can't we?
Okay. Dr. Shauna?
Can you hear me?
Yes, ma'am.
All right. I understand what Sherry's argument was about. She cares about all children. And I'll speak for myself, but I also think that I probably share the same sentiment with so many people on here, that it's not a matter of us not caring about other people's children. The question at hand is, should we be so concerned about this immigrant situation? And when I hear the word concerned about it, I'm talking about marching and advocating and petitions and starting arguments with other people and fights and stuff like that. I'm not concerned about any of that. Because when I talk about being Afrocentric, it doesn't mean that anybody else is less important than my people. It means that my people is always the late person to the table. They are always the last ones to eat. They always are the last ones to get rewards and benefits. And it's time for me, I can't speak for nobody else, to put my people first. So when I go for issues, I'm going for Black issues because ain't nobody else doing it for us. The only time we come onto everybody else's radar is when they see what's in it for them. So what's in it for me are my people, and that's what I focus on.
Okay. Michi X?
Well, based on the fact that y'all know I'm pro-Black, for those of y'all that know me, my answer is, if we're asking should we be concerned, no. I do not agree with what's happening, but I will say that as Black America, we have our children snatched from us and put in cages every day, right? So I won't get into all those details now. I'll let the conversation go about, but social service takes Black people kids for no reason at all, kidnap them and say it's okay, right? They throw our kids in cages all the time. They get tried as adults more than any other, you know, a race of juveniles, and they're thrown in the cages with adults, and they're more likely to be raped and commit suicide over crimes that wasn't even murder. Like, we could go on and on, but at the end of the day, this has been happening to Black children in America for forever. So no, I don't want to hear about bills and policies and people saying, this is outrageous, this is ridiculous, this is inhumane. Like, I know, y'all been treating us like this all this long. We know, damn it, we know. And I need Black people to sit down and stop trying to make this their cause. I hate when y'all rally and take to the streets and be on the news and want to yell at Trump and want to pick up the mantle for somebody else, but I ain't heard y'all say shit about the preschool to prison pipeline that send our kids to school every day. I'm gonna leave it there for now.
All right, so that's how we're gonna basically break into this conversation. I, like Dr. Shauna, believe that all children are important, but they're kids, you know, and I don't think, like Dr. Shauna said, I don't think that this is about whether kids are important and whether or not kids should be taken from their parents. We all can say, no, that should not happen. However, when we start talking about what's important here in America, the rights that we stand up for, the rights that we fight for, who shows up, who talks about, who gets on the news, it's never Black people. It's never with regards to our situation. And it doesn't even get any public recognition until it happens to somebody else. And then that's where we throw our support behind it. I was thinking about the best way for me to present my opinion would be, if you have a sick child, and so Becky, white girl, somebody else got a sick child, and both of you guys both of you guys are having issues and problems and complications in the world. And there's only one heart There's only one heart. Only one person is going to get the heart. Are you going to say, you know what, Becky? I need a heart too, but you go ahead. Your child is more important. Let me help you and support you in your trauma and not support your own child. You're not going to do that. You're going to put your love and your admiration. You're going to stand up for your own child first. It's, to me, that's the same thing, conversation that we're having here. Black children, like Michelle said, they are snatched from their parents. They are put into orphanages. They are last to be educated. We have so many issues of our own right here in America that can be fought for, that we don't fight for, that we don't talk about, that we don't communicate. But then we go and throw our support behind somebody else's children. That is my stance on this whole thing. Not saying the kids aren't important, but we have our own issues. We have things that are happening right here in America. I don't understand why we always try to give our support and lean our energy towards other people. So Nicole says, this is about people breaking the law to enter the country and the misplaced attention of our governments. Where is the upheaval when our children are stolen by CPS? Exactly. All right.
I want to say something.
Go ahead.
And I have to make sure this gets very clear, because I want to get everybody's perspective here in the Queen's Roundtables. What do we mean when we say Black, right? Because my husband and I, we had this conversation as well not too long ago. My husband is from the country of Haiti. He's a citizen here in America now, but he was born in Haiti, came over here when he was 7. So when we say Black, and we're talking about Haitians, you understand, would that be included or we're not including them? And that's why I want to be very specific, because when I'm talking about the children I'm speaking to, there are so many African-American children, just for the sake of having a clear language that we can all understand, that are experiencing trauma daily, being ripped out of their families' houses daily, not knowing who they are, their backgrounds daily, you name it. So when we're talking about Black and we're talking about immigrant, who are we speaking to? Because I don't know if society is marching for all immigrants, specific immigrants. Who are we speaking to, and who are the people on the news? Because the last time I checked, and maybe I'm wrong, I could have sworn I heard the president call Haiti a shithole country. So I don't know who we talking about and who we fighting for.
You know what? That's actually a good point. Before we get into that, I accidentally missed Nicole. I usually try to go last when I go around the round table, but Nicole did not get to actually weigh in her opinion on this topic yet. So Nicole, go ahead and give us your opinion.
Injustice anywhere is a threat to justice everywhere. So we are caught in an inescapable network of mutuality, tied in a single garment of destiny. Whether it affects one directly, affects all indirectly. My position is probably one that I'll be hated for when I get finished too. Yes, I am. I would consider myself proud to be Black. I consider myself in the community one who is doing our attempts to do a lot for my people, period. However, I look at this from so many different perspectives, as I do on many topics. I've been an immigration attorney. I have friends who are what we would consider illegal immigrants. And so I look at it from a different, thank you, undocumented. But I look at it from a different, I guess, a different perspective. Am I going to go march on the White House steps? I can't say that I am. 2 months ago, I walked in the AIDS walk. I don't have AIDS, no one in my family does, but I felt like there was not enough people who signed up for the walk, so I did it. I said something. I've always been a kind of person that no matter what, if I can effectuate change, I will. I put it on my page earlier today after you all had the conversation. There's a movie called Home Again. It was done in 2012. I watched that about the same time that I was doing an immigration case where there was a Hispanic person who was darker than anybody on this video, anybody in this chat, who would be considered Hispanic, but was a Black Hispanic who had came to the United States so that he could save his family from being killed. So even though on the TV we see, and it's not Trump, he's not trying to do anything to save any of these kids. And this is something that's been going on forever and forever, whether we have the new law in place or not. They've been mistreating everybody that comes over the border. It's not Black, it's not white. I have my Haitian friends, I have my Dominican friends, I have my friends that snuck over from, Cuba and other places that are undocumented, but they're here, they're working, they're paying their taxes. My problem as a person of color who isn't, obviously I have Native American in me, and I have some Caucasian down the line. I'm concerned because if they'll start doing this bull to the brown people, and it's people that are watching on a national and an international basis what we're doing to them, it's going to continue to happen to ours, and going to continue to be a slippery slope.
Going to continue to happen to our people as long as we keep putting ourselves on the back burner. And I want to address.
I didn't say what I started out saying was I take my.
But this has also been happening forever with Black people. And let me remind you, we didn't choose to come over here. They brought us.
I agree with that.
Immigrants bring their ass to the border and say, I want to get in, okay? They trying to come in manners that they're not supposed to be here. Now, if you drive down the street. If you drive down the street, hold on. If you drive down the street and by law, you don't have a license and they pull you over, you are going to jail. If you have children in your car because you are caught committing a crime, they are going to take your kids, if not to families, to social services, to a foster care home, but you are going to jail. Okay, your kids are not coming to that cell with you. So let's quit talking. See, we keep putting them in the same boat as us. We are in a completely different boat.
But I'm not.
Also, I want to say this. Hold on. I want to say this real quick. People in here keep saying things like, you can be proud and still have compassion. Let me correct anybody who want to say anything out of that extent right now. We're not saying that we don't have compassion for children, right? But at the end of the day, I am so tired of white America and Black America making Black people feel bad when we decide to have compassion for our own people. And that's what we're saying here. And for somebody on there talking about, ladies, don't wait until something happens to complain, kiss my ass. We are constantly in here fighting and talking about the preschool to prison pipeline, kids being taken, but I don't see Black people by large rallying, crying, boo-hooing, waving flags, and taking to the streets over that shit. That's my problem.
It's not, but this is my thing. Me personally, and that's why I said that anytime I see an issue, I'm trying to correct it, whether it's in most of the issues that I see are in the Black community, because that's where I am. I'm an attorney. If anybody should know that if you get pulled over, especially being a Black person in America, your ass is going to jail and they're going to take your kids, it's me. You know why? Because I'm in the courtroom and I'm the one that's doing the pro bono cases and doing the child abuse cases for nothing, to get people their kids back and to be the one to be there for them. All I'm saying, I'm not saying that we should just only, I agree. I am saying we should be concerned about what's going on. What level we take it to is up to the individuals. I'm not saying ever put the Black kid on the back burner, because 90% of what I'm doing is for them.
I hear all lives matter up in here. I hear all lives matter in the comments.
No, that's some bullshit.
I hear all lives matter right now. That's what I hear. But I'm gonna let somebody else go ahead, because y'all know
that's okay. They got bell tones.
Okay. So one of the comments said, I think actually you hit on that comment a minute ago. Okay, so let's go with Lewis Gordon's comment. Exactly, who's next? Oppressors don't stop oppressing. There's that comment with regards to, I think, and correct me if I'm wrong, Nicole was going in the place that if they'll do it to them, they'll do it to us. And I think one of the differences that we have to recognize and remember that we're talking about illegal people that are undocumented, that's the correct terminology, illegal, undocumented, which means it's not the same. So we're not having that same conversation. I think, like she said, somebody else said you can be pro-Black and still be compassionate. You can be proactively compassionate. Again, we're not saying, be negative, mean, rude, disrespectful towards these children. That's not what we're saying at all, by any means. What is being said is that when it comes time to stand up and support and march and be diligent, why isn't the same concern presented in the Black community? Why aren't people in an uproar over the things that are happening in America? Like, why do we stand up for, show up for people outside of our community? We don't even do that for the people that live here. You will step over a homeless Black man on your way to march for immigrant children. You just passed a person that you could have helped right here in your own community. That's being compassionate as well.
Here's what I'm saying.
Can I make one more point? I didn't get to say it in my original statement. It was in my notes. The 2,000 kids that they're talking about on TV, are kids that were brought here because their family was seeking asylum, which is a big difference from somebody coming just to get a good job or coming to hide out. When you're seeking asylum, which is not illegal, because we do offer asylum to Sudanese and other people who are coming so that they don't die going back home. That's a big difference from somebody just coming over undocumented. And so that was another point I wanted to make in the whole rally and all of that is still, that's part of, I think, what does not get discussed. These aren't people who just cross the border just for the heck of it. They're seeking help and they're doing it lawful. The ones that I'm referring to are doing it lawful.
Black people have been screaming for help since before they were standing on roofs in Katrina with signs made out of clothes saying help. Just saying.
Here's what I'm saying. Because I just don't want this whole thing to turn into a non-productive conversation, because that tends to happen when Black people talk about all these issues. We always take a dividing stance on it. So here's what I'm going to say. I belong to a part of some really awesome professional organizations that cater to the compassion, the social justice, and the advocacy of other people. It doesn't mean that I, myself, Dr. Shauna, has to pick up every damn task to fight. It doesn't mean that. Can I have compassion and understanding? Absolutely. Do I? Absolutely. I'm a social worker. But I did not get called for my people to divide my time doing 101 other things when there are a slew of other people that's going to do it. And what I mean by that is you only have but so much time and 24 hours to tend to all your needs. I am not going to be all over the place doing 1,000 different things. My focus is Black first. And what I mean by that is taking an Afrocentric perspective. There are Black children that need my guidance. There are Black children that need my mentorship. There are Black marriages that need saving and healing. There are Black women and men that suffer from depression that need understanding and healing. There are Black people who have the highest unemployment rates. There are Black people with the highest poverty rates. There's too much going on for my community for me to be at Washington talking about all these other issues while my people once again are on the back burner. And that's all I'm saying. So I'm saying if anyone wants to go out there and march and do all of that, cool. Great. What do you need me to do? Sign a paper? I can do that. I'm not marching.
I think my issue is just taking a look at this. And way back in the day, Angela Davis came to my college for Black History Month. And I was expecting Afro-wearing, Black Panther, gun-toting, down for the cause militant Angela Davis. This is back when I was Sherry Eggs. So she got up there and she was having a conversation and she was talking about how her experiences were in the civil rights movement and the women's rights movement. And she was saying how when she was with the Panthers, basically the guys in the Panthers were just like, the civil rights movement, we're fighting for, like Black men's rights first. We'll get to you later. White women in the women's rights movement were like, yeah, we're not really interested in you, in Black women's issues. We need to get ours first, and then we'll deal with you later. So she was just saying how when you start to marginalize people and only be concerned about your issues and nobody else's, that you basically weaken the cause. So it just made me think about that back then, and I pretty much lived that way since then. Now, what I do know, being a teacher and having 100% knowledge of the preschool to prison pipeline, et cetera, and have had those discussions, et cetera, I know that Black unemployment and, depression and things like that are very high. Native Americans actually statistically have higher rates, but
or population.
But we, when it comes to children, really causes their brains to form differently. But these children are coming over, they're seeking asylum, they're already been put into a traumatic situation, they're now being traumatized by being taken away from their parents and put into these detention centers. We also have Black children, white children, all sorts of other children who are taken away from their parents who are also suffering trauma. I have issues with all of that because that childhood trauma then leads to adult mental illness. So that's all I'm saying. So to sit there and just say we shouldn't care about them, they're not going to be in your classroom. You don't have to deal with them. So it's like, but hopefully they don't shoot up your movie theater.
Hey, they're not even citizens, so
you have to think about that.
Anybody's classroom at this point. We don't know if they're going to be in anybody's classroom. They
are taking classes currently.
They're not citizens of this country. So at the end of the day, I just want to say how much of a slap in the face that is to Black people. We're more concerned about people who are not even citizens of this country yet, but the peoples whose backs it was built on can't get no help for nothing. Like our kids have been dealing with all kinds of stuff. What do you mean do something? I am doing something. But the point is, by Black people in large, when it comes to the masses of us, we will always get up, start crying and boo-hooing and take to the streets as soon as white people give us our orders. And because white folks are on TV right now saying, oh my God, this is heinous. This is horrific. This is inhumane. You can't take children from their moms. I want to be like, kiss my ass, major media news stations. The words they have used, all of this trauma that these kids will suffer. Do you know what Black kids go through in this country?
Absolutely.
So go ask Tamir Rice, his 14-year-old sister, when she tried to run on her brother's body, how they had him cuffed even though they realized they had made a mistake. And instead of letting her come to his side, they put him in the back of a police car. Okay, so don't talk to me about trauma in children. And this is the thing, you cannot save everybody. Can we all agree on that? We can't save everybody when you are people that do that work. So when you choose to save somebody, my question is, as a Black person, who do you save that energy and that saving for? And if it's not for yourself, then that seems like a little bit of self-hate, and I just have a problem with that. And that's not directly towards you. That's for any Black person who goes so hard for other races and their issues, but ain't out there talking about the issues that we face every day that they probably dealing with in their own damn family.
Okay, that doesn't mean right. Just saying.
Okay, well, you know what? That's fine. But at the end of the day, there are facts, and facts make it right. And we can talk about
there are lots and lots of facts.
Those are the
Why are these people coming here? Why are Black children being taken out of the families? Why
are Black people still oppressed
in the Black community? Why is there so much violence in some of these other countries? You have to ask so many whys, and then you need those whys. And there you go. But just because I'm going to be in the classroom and I'm going to deal with Black children and Latino children and white children and children in general doesn't mean that I don't love and care for my Black children. It's like I've done plenty of volunteer work. I've done plenty of things for the Black community, and I still will. But I'm not going to just sit there and say that it's okay for these children to be treated that way because these kids over here are being treated like this.
I got a question.
Patrice is rocking. Hold on a second, Michelle. Let Patrice speak because she got the church rock. I know she's trying to get in.
I don't think that anybody's saying that they don't care. I think that they're raising the question, why doesn't anybody care about Black children as much as they care about other people's children? That's the question. Nobody's saying that they care about Black kids more. Nobody's saying that they care about white kids more. The question is, why is everybody getting a look? Why is everybody getting a feel? And why is everybody getting the help that they deserve? But I think about Khalif Browder when I think about children not receiving the help that they deserve, because Khalif Browder was in jail for 3 years over a fucking backpack. And they put him in solitary confinement for those 3 years, and that boy killed himself. But then we're going to talk about some kids getting sent over to another country. They not dead. They not dead. They still alive. They have another opportunity. There are plenty of Black kids who don't get another chance. There are plenty of Black kids who are serving life right now who haven't been proven guilty. And you see them get out of jail 40 years later. And
who are serving life and didn't even kill nobody. Serving life.
So when you talk about people not caring, nobody's saying that they don't care. We're saying that there are way bigger fish to fry when it comes to the African American community. And if you say that there aren't, you a goddamn lie, because these kids are still alive. These kids still have another opportunity, and these kids still get a second chance. Black kids don't.
See, this is what happens. People are so concerned with their opinions being heard that they're not even able to hear someone else's voice. No one said that no one cared about the other children. Let's make that very clear. So don't get on here and make it seem like people are insensitive about other people. We're talking about where we extend our energy at. That is very clear. When was the last time you marched on Washington about the high rate of Black children in foster care? When was the last time you marched about the high rate of Black children not being adopted who are in foster care? When was the last time you marched on Black children being killed? by their parents and no justice being done. When was the last time you did that? So you have a lot to say, but I'm not hearing what you do. See, justice goes outside of the classroom. I do justice.
I don't have to answer to you. And I don't have to tell you what it is that I do and what it is that I don't do. And you don't have to.
I bet you don't.
So therefore, all of that is just ridiculous. So keep it. And I don't respond. I don't respond to people yelling at me. You're right. People do shut down. And you're over here just like, nobody said, you know, no one cares about other people's children. But we're also hearing nobody cares about Black children. There are plenty of people who care about Black people as well. I'm just saying, all or nothing. There's never an all or nothing. I feel like I'm on fucking Breitbart, the opposite. It's ridiculous. So it's like, whatever, go ahead and accuse and say and call and whatever you want in one ear and out the other. When you want to have an actual intelligent conversation in a normal tone of voice, maybe we can have it.
Oh, and your tone was normal?
As Black people, we because we don't agree.
But here's what I'm concerned about. I'm concerned about the 500 Black girls that are missing in Washington, D.C. How come nobody made a big deal about that? Instagram had to tell people about that. Twitter had to tell the news about that. And then the news decided to talk about it. We still ain't found them, but we seen a whole bunch of white women marching on Washington and a whole bunch of Black stupid ass people following behind them to march on Washington in January, the moment that Donald Trump was elected. But 3 months later, nobody marched for those 500 Black girls who came up missing in Washington, D.C. So when we talk about this, the statistics prove, the numbers prove, the news proves that nobody cares. People do not care about Black children as much as they care about other people. They don't. We got 15-year-old Black boys who are sitting and awaiting trial. They have to wait 3 years until they become 18 so that they can be tried as an adult.
But that's why we're here, to have those conversations, because the media doesn't talk about those things, and we can't march on something that we don't know about. So that's why you bringing those things here and having these kind of conversations is absolutely what we need. And we need more media outlets where we do put those things out open and have those conversations, because a lot of people don't understand that those things are happening. So that's absolutely wonderful that you bring those things up.
Okay, and I have a quick question. You just admitted that the news doesn't talk about that, but They talk about immigrant children and they talk about white children. How come they didn't talk about those Black children?
Part of it is because we didn't make them talk about it.
No,
one of the things that I believe,
kiss my whole entire Black ass, because you goddamn lie. That ain't got nothing to do with nothing. No, that ain't got that has nothing to do with nothing. I shouldn't have to tell the news to do their fucking job.
No, you shouldn't. But guess what? The news is owned by the white man. The real bottom line is
so that's exactly why they're talking about immigrant children, but they're not talking about Black ones. So
they're talking about it because
somebody proves my point.
Somebody's pushing their agenda. It's gonna come down to money and politics. The thing about it is we have our what?
It comes down to race. Let's stop lying.
No, I agree with you on that.
Because if it came down to money, the immigrants wouldn't have to be here.
I agree with you on that. My concern as a Black woman attorney is this. I have less respect for our legal system now that I practice in it than before I did when I had this dream of going to law school and saving the world. Now that I see I have a big problem with our legal system.
No, you said you have less respect. I said, so you started respecting the legal system?
No, I have almost no respect. What I realize is it's a chess game and I'm a chess player. I'm a champion chess player. I'm going to figure out how to beat them at third game and which moves I need to make to be 2 steps ahead. I haven't gone to Washington to march. Do I read about it? Yeah, I read about it because I want to see what stupid tricks they're playing as far as the immigrants, because don't think it's not that far from our doorstep. Yes, they've been doing it to us. Yes, they've been doing it to the kids. My thing is for the people who have watched the documentary on Khalid Brown, the next step is to go one step above just talking about it. I don't just talk about it. That's when I'm like on the phone with the other Black attorneys, like, all right, y'all, what are we gonna do? Well, who needs help in our system so that
Black
we can
people need help.
That's what I'm saying.
Help. And if you are Black, you should be helping and worrying about your
and I do.
Nobody gives a fuck about us.
And I do.
So,
but my question is this.
Understand that, and that is not your first agenda, then you have drank in the white people's Kool-Aid, right? And I'm going to need you to regurgitate that.
If you have someone who has come over and they are Black, just got finished talking about Haitian. I know Haitians here in South Florida that are undocumented. They came though because they came for various reasons.
About those immigrants, let me say something else too.
That was my other
Mexican immigrants who are going to come over here, and according to statistics, when they get here and if they become citizen and they get their citizenship,
they mark white.
They have to find a category to identify within a race. And do you know that 49% of Hispanics and Mexicans in this country identify with being white? So, miss me, they're not talking about the immigrants you just brought up. They're talking about the ones that can identify as white once they get over here.
And it affects them too, though.
Let me ask Nicole a question. Do you have the stats, Nicole, from the history of us in America when it comes to immigration? What is the stats on the people who are deported? What countries get deported? Before this DACA whole thing came up, what countries are known to get deported at high numbers?
Let me find it.
Okay, I'll wait.
Okay, well, she's looking at that. I want to go back to something we talked about a minute ago. The conversation was with regards to media, Black people not getting media. So I want to share this. Let me share my screen real fast. We kind of talked about this a little bit earlier. But Al Sharpton and I forget the guy's name, Mark I completely trashed his name. But anyways, they did a press today, time for action against immoral detention of children at the border. And it was Al Sharpton and Mark, I always check his name up. But all that to say, they're getting a lot of press. You have Al Sharpton showing up to do the press, as well as, I gotta find this guy's name. He is the Urban League guy, and I cannot think of his name. So we're talking about media, and we're talking about who shows up for media. When is the last time that any of you on the panel can remember having press done by predominant Black figures for a Black issue, such as this?
Fly Nubian Queen.
Say that again.
Right here.
Dr. Bush.
What is his name? Let me see if I can find this guy.
Say your question again, Lene.
Hold on, I'm trying to find his name.
Just real
Mark
quick,
Morale.
Subscribe to FlyNubianQueen.com and share this video as much as you can. Subscribe, and share, please.
Subscribe and share. Go to www.flynubianqueen.com. That's where you want to subscribe. FlyNubianQueen.com. Subscribe there because, okay, so let me tell you guys this. We always get these inboxes and these posts that say, I want to talk to you guys. How can I give my opinion? How can I share my thoughts? And before now, we didn't have a way, but now we do. If you go to www.flynubianqueen.com and subscribe, we are going to start sending out a link to our Facebook Lives. So if you actually want to get online with us and give us your perspective live as we're speaking, you will get that link, but only if you go to www.flynubianqueen.com and subscribe, will we have your email. So if you don't subscribe, we can't send the email and you can't get online with us and jump in and have a conversation with us. But if you go subscribe, you're going to get a special email so you can actually join us on our Facebook Lives and sit in with us and give us your opinion, okay? So the question was with regards to
media,
national press, right? What issues that are only ours, like they're specific around us, gets national press, such as a Al Sharpton or Mark Morale, outside of gun violence after it happens, police brutality after it happens. You know, we get stuff after it happens and after it's been brought to the forefront, but Al Sharpton and Mark Morale calling a conference to talk about, let me make sure I get the words right, because this is what got me. It's time for action against immoral detention of children at border.
Al Sharpton need to sit his ass down. That's what he need to do. Have a damn seat. Okay, he out there looking like a fool with his big ass head and his skinny ass neck, talking about some other people's issues. And at the end of the day, I don't know how many times that I have to say this. There are so many children that are Black in this country. There's so much stuff going on for Black people that's what he finds his moment. Let me tell you something that people may not understand. See, there are constantly issues that he could be addressing right now about Black people, but what he is doing is addressing the one issue that is popular right now that will get his old ass a platform so somebody will listen to what he has to say. That's what that's about, right? Because he's only talking about what the media tells him is popular and he should be talking about. He's not talking about the issues that are going on, because there's plenty you can name right now. Preschool to prison pipeline, how privatized prisons is on the damn stock market, and how they are selling our children and their bodies as commodities. How police keep killing Black people, and even though they want to say, oh, they kill white people too, the point is that they kill way more unarmed Black people than any other race, right? There's a whole lot that we could be talking about. If we want to talk about kids being snatched, let's talk about how social services, because I heard somebody say this shit earlier, Black families do abuse their kids. Look, stop trying to use the real reason why you're there as the reason why the system takes advantage, because there are plenty of times that that's not the case. And social services, I know a woman who had a child and she got abused by her boyfriend. She called the police on him. She got a restraining order. She put him out. When she got back home from the hospital 2 days later, social services came and took her damn kid. Talking about she put her kid in danger. Now, she did what she was supposed to do. So she was a victim of something. She did all she could do. She had him arrested. She got a restraining order. She's not in any danger, neither are her kids. And they kidnapped, we're going to call it what it is. They kidnapped her fucking babies, okay? She did it on live. She couldn't do nothing about it. They stood there and said, get these kids dressed, and they took her baby out her arms. We're not going to act like that doesn't happen a whole lot in this country too. Or where Black people whoop or discipline their kids and now all of a sudden they want to take your children. Are they putting them in cages? No, sometimes they are in these boys and girls homes, but they'll place your kids in somebody's foster home who will abuse your children, molest them, do all kind of crazy shit to them because they just want the check and they don't really care about your kids. I don't know about y'all, but I just recently seen a video on Facebook of a white woman who obviously didn't give birth to these 2 Black kids, but she opened her trunk and let them out of dog cages. So, Miss Me, Al Sharpton, with your little ass neck and your big ass head, and anybody who think anything he got to say is worth listening to at this moment, okay? So, and I see Sherry like, oh, and everybody get mad. I'm going to say it once again because we have to keep reiterating this. Like, go to Fly Nubian Queen and like the page and subscribe. Let me keep reiterating this shit too. We're not saying that we don't care. If I walked past a child that wasn't Black and they were in immediate need, would I help them? Yes. But what I'm telling you right now is I don't want to hear about no bills being changed and the government coming together to make changes immediately for children who are not even citizens of this country when they tell Black people to kiss their ass every single day.
I'm just rolling my eyes because I think you negate some of your point when you start just getting personal and calling people names. Your points were absolutely fine, but I just think the rest of
you know names, so who I'm getting personal with.
So that's all I'm saying. I'm just saying, you know, his little ass head and his this and this is like, it's just it doesn't make sense.
Are you upset? Are you taking? That's how I feel.
I'm just saying you're better than that. So
okay.
That's all.
No, let me explain who I am and let me say that for me, okay? First of all, people talking about getting loud and yelling. Don't mistake what you hear in the volume as anger for passion. I am very passionate about what happens with my people, okay? Secondly, I didn't call you anything personally, but I call it like it is. And at the end of the day, there's a whole lot of people who have been looking at Al Sharpton and be like, damn, his neck is skinny and his head is big. He lost a lot of weight. Let's just keep it real. Every now and then I throw some shit out there. Maybe we need to laugh. So I'm gonna need you to calm down and everybody else that's being a little bit serious and save that serious shit and all that energy for saving Black people, especially if you're Black.
Go ahead, Patrice.
Got those stats for me, Nicole?
Sherry was speaking.
Oh.
What
you say, Sherry? Hold on. I can't unmute you. There you go.
Oh,
Sherry?
I'm good. I just, you know, it's like when you're having an intelligent conversation, I just think it's good to just keep it. I'm not used to having those conversations. So it's like, okay, that's great. You can tell me what it is you think that I need to do and that sort of thing and all that stuff. I'm still going to do whatever it is that I want to do. So we'll just keep it there.
And let me say this for everybody on the panel, but mostly for everybody in the comments. As a panel, we talk privately, so we already know each other's passion. So this is not unnormal for us. But at the end of the day, when it's all said and done, we still love each other. We're still queens. We still, you know, chit chat. the whole reason we have these conversations and we have these Queens Roundtables is so that everybody has an opportunity to present their position. There's not always a right or a wrong answer, because your position is what you feel is right. And sometimes you feel the other person is wrong. In that moment, you can be very passionate. A lot of times when we're talking to, sometimes we're talking to each other, but sometimes we're talking to the comments, because the comments are coming so fast and people are very honest, brutally honest in the comments sometimes. So, but we are passionate people, we are opinionated. But at the end of the day, I hope if nothing else, people walk away from not necessarily this conversation, but how we conduct ourselves and say, you can be passionate, you can get your point across. Everybody has still been respectful. Nobody's been mean or rude. So even if you're having a type of a conversation out in the world with somebody and you don't agree with them, or you have different points, still be able to have the conversation. Like, we're still communicating and still having a conversation, regardless of if we agree with each other. A lot of times we don't, because everybody comes from someplace different, and you don't have to agree, but you see we've been able to still keep it respectful. So I just want to say that.
I agree, we can keep it respectful, and there is a difference between being passionate and being angry. But I will say, I really don't give a shit. I am very angry, especially when I watch the news, and these in box number 4 and box number 5 have proven my point. They clearly said that the news does not care about Black people. They talk about everybody else, but then they want to say that we should care about everybody else. I'm sorry. One day I'm gonna meet me a fine ass Black man, okay? My husband gonna be, listen, darker than this towel, okay? And I'm gonna have a Black son, and I'm gonna have a Black daughter. So I cannot sit here and have a conversation with you, and I know you're wrong, you know that you're wrong, because we can say that there is no wrong answer, but that's a lie, because this country has never shown that they care about Black people. It's never shown that they cared about Black boys. It clearly doesn't show that they care about Black girls either. As I said, there are 500 Black girls that are missing in Washington, D.C. right now, and the president lives in Washington, D.C. And then we have Black boys getting killed all over this country by police who are supposed to protect them and who are supposed to be a mentor to them. So I don't care about looking angry. I don't care about being angry. I'm highly upset, because I don't want that to be my Black boy, and I definitely don't want that to be my Black girl. I don't want that to be my Black husband, and I don't want that to be his Black wife, because that would be terrible if somebody kidnapped me. Because what y'all gonna do? So, yeah.
You got them stats for me yet? I'm still waiting.
I'm gonna be on
about them stats.
The stats that I found are a couple of years old. I was looking at ICE's page, then I went to DHS. DHS is the only one that I found that broke it down, but it's like 3 years old. And it says Mexico as the #1 for non-criminal removals. That's what I see. They also have the inadmissibility determinations, which means they go to court and they decide that they're not going to, even though they're in the country, they're not allowed to stay. It doesn't mean that, I think that one was lower. And then they have the stats for those who leave and come right back. One of the things that was also, I also had in my notes to talk about, was the fact we talked about, Patrice was like, why is the media worried about them?
But can I ask you
I can tell you from,
stats?
Go ahead. I got it off of DHS.
You said Mexico, right?
Yeah.
And this whole discussion started because the concern is of what children specifically?
I'm assuming they're from Mexico seeking asylum. One of the things that I guess my thing is, it's not, what I'm looking at is they're not the only ones. Am I, like I said, am I on their marching for them? No. My thing is, I'm looking at it from a perspective of, if the United States is infringing on them, that's one more thing that they could be doing to infringe upon us. And there are us's, because I've known Africans to be deported. So we're talking about people of color. Yeah, I'm gonna be concerned.
What does that mean, people of color? What does that mean? I don't understand that term.
Well, here's my thing. I don't understand. Oh, I can't say that I don't understand. I don't understand the only context that is given here as, okay, we're pro-Black. Is that pro-Black, under 40,000, in the hood, grew up in the projects? Is that what makes, I guess that's my thing. Because when I look at it, I have people here in South Florida, you have a plethora of people. And you have Black people that are what you would consider Black. My mama's Black, my daddy's Black. You know, we grew up in the Black side of town. But then you also have one of the fastest growing deportees, segment of community for deportees was African countries as well. So you also have to look at the fact that a lot of times they don't know. When you look at a Black person, that Black person may be an undocumented immigrant from someplace like Haiti, from someplace like Cuba. You have Blacks that are in Mexico. And even what Michi X was saying, you know, she's like 49% of them come over and check white. They do. Middle Eastern Indians, they come over, they check white. They do. Because they're like, shoot, if I had to choose, it seems like the white people got it a whole lot better than the Hispanic people, the Black people, and the other people of color. But 49 is still less than 51. That means 51% of them, which is more the last time I checked.
Guess how many Black people can check the white box, even if you're half white? Guess how many? 0. So we're not even.
Yes, you can.
Oh, no, you're not.
Yes, you can.
No, there's a law that says that is a lie. I was told I could not fill out a goddamn scholarship and claim that I was all white because I am half Black. Thank you very much.
But I know people who have done it, and I know people who are less than that.
Okay. And if the law wanted to persecute them and put them in jail and prosecute them for that shit, they could. Just like the woman who unknowingly was on probation and she went to her church to vote for Obama, didn't know she couldn't. They put her in prison for 5 years. A white lady voted twice on purpose, thinking they was going to tamper with her vote, and they gave her a $700 fine and they gave her probation. So come on. If I did it, I probably would be the one to go to jail over that shit because I'm Black. I'll come get you, I'll answer you, Shauna, what people are. Because I hear it all the time in Colorado where I'm at. People of color is a term that we use now in America for anybody who is not white. And the reason that they do that is because they want to try and throw all people who are not white in one box so that they can use what Hispanics are doing or what other minority groups are doing to say y'all not doing so bad. And they can use statistics and put us all in one group and one number. But understand that we are not all the same, okay?
I get that.
Country, right? So there are levels to this. So it kills me when everybody around here, they use that word in Colorado a lot. This is an event for POCs. Well, guess what? Call me when it's a Black event because I don't want to be there with POCs because we're not all the damn same. Their issues are not our issues. So POC is just this nice little term to get us to shut up and once again be just drowned out by all the other groups who surround us and say, see, we're all the same. No, we're not.
It's the same swipe that happened with the civil rights movement. And that's why I specifically asked, what is people of color? People like to just throw around terms, but we have to do our research and we have to understand the history here in this country. So again, it goes back to what are we actually arguing about or debating about on this channel tonight? Because I'm still confused. Like I said, my focus are African American, are those of the African diaspora, descendants of slaves here in America. That is my focus. So what again are we arguing about? So I can be clear, because maybe I need to bow out this discussion.
Silence. Does any? I can't. Y'all want me to feel? I can feel that silence if y'all want me to fill it with some words. I thought we were discussing the fact that as Black people, we tend to take on other people's issues a little bit too much when we don't need to, right? I.e., speaking of this immigration situation, where once again, for people coming in late, we don't say that we don't have any compassion for those children or that it's not a shame. What we are saying is you're so outraged and you're crying, but they've been doing shit like this to Black kids for forever, as long as we've been in this country, right? They take our kids away in a whole lot of ways and throw them in cages and put them in jails where they are raped and brutalized. My son is in prison now, and guess what? I can't call up there and be like, yo, why y'all broke my son TV? You know what they did? They harassed him and beat him up, threw him in solitary confinement, took his privileges away because I couldn't even call and say nothing to them about it. So let's talk about what's going on with our Black kids in the prison system, okay? So this is the thing. We don't have energy as Black people to keep putting into everybody else's fight. That's why we never get anywhere. We begin to scream Black Lives Matter and they just come in and be like POCs, or they come in and say all lives matter, and then they just diffuse everything. And before you know it,
Rainbow Coalition.
Everybody forgets about our fucking issues. And it's sad. I expect everybody else to forget about our issues. But when Black people forget about their own people's issues, when you living with that shit in your face every day, it's become so normal, you don't even think it's an issue anymore. That's really the sad part of all of this. Because I could give a damn what anybody else who ain't Black go and do. But when you Black and you up here putting all this energy into everybody else's fight, but I don't see you saying shit about your own people, that's what bothers me.
So listen here, I say it all the time, we are not all the same. We're not a monolithic people, right? We have different variations. And I think part of this discussion, not just here on Fly Nubian Queen, if y'all haven't subscribed, make sure y'all subscribe to Fly Nubian Queen, but not here just on Fly Nubian Queen, but I'm saying discussions as a whole when it comes to descendants of slaves in this country. We always have a divided conversation. I think we have to first get clear on what the hell we're going to call ourselves so we can separate all the other discussions. Because when we say Black, right, somebody can easily say, well, Haitians are immigrants, and they are, and they're Black. We have Jamaicans who are immigrants, and they are, and they're Black. And I can go on and on and on and down the list of names, right? So who specifically are we speaking to? Because that Black term, in my opinion, and I understand what you're saying, Michelle, and I'm just saying in general, that Black term is getting washed all up in that whole people of color conversation as well, when we can't even differentiate who we are from everybody else. And everyone is always Black when it's convenient. And then when they don't want to be Black, they everything else. They start to say what they are specifically. So who are we talking to? Because I know in my head who I advocate for.
Right.
Me personally, I advocate for Black people. So in my opinion, Dominican, Haitian, to me, they all seem the same. And I've met many Dominicans, I've met many Haitians, but you have like, your Afro Latinas, you have your Black, you have your Haitians, you have your Black Dominicans. So I consider them to be the same, because when they're in the United States, the ones that I know, when we get singled out, they don't single out me as the African American girl. They single us all out as Black girls. So I just consider them all to be the same. However, when we talk about the deportation of Hispanics, like I said, I hate that this is getting so much coverage. But when we talked about the Black girls that were missing in Washington, D.C., and I'll keep bringing it up until I'm tired of bringing it up. But when we talked about that, social media had to tell the news about that. The news told me about what's going on with these Hispanic kids because they caught the news first. And I think that I'm starting to feel like this conversation is somewhat over, because I feel like we've really proven our point, me, Shauna, and Michi. So
it's the type of a conversation there's no beginning, there's no end. We could literally sit here and have it forever, because everybody has a point, everybody has a perspective. Anybody want to have any final thoughts, final points?
I do have a final thought and a final point, because what you just said, Patrice, I hear you totally, and I'm with you 1,000%, not 100, but 1,000. However, I do have a caveat, and that is when I think what this conversation is getting kind of conflated, right? Everything is going in that same bucket, is because when we hear DACA, we're talking about the policy is going to affect everybody who are immigrants coming into this country, whether they're Dominican, Haitians, Jamaican, African, you name it, is going to affect everybody, right? But what I'm thinking, and what I'm hearing with this discussion is specifically talking about the border. So that's the kind of clarification I need, because my mind has been focused on the border per se. Does that make sense? Mm-hmm. And I think that we start to conflate everything, and it causes us to go at each other. Now we're talking about Haitians, because Sakwa say at TN, what I'm saying, I got to represent my Haitian side. But if we're talking about Haitians, then that's a different conversation we can have, because I'm representing them too. You understand what I'm trying to say? But right. If we're talking about the Mexicans across the border, I'm not saying it's messed up. I'm not saying it's not messed up. You understand? I want to make that very clear. But I'm saying where my focus has to be. I will sign a petition. Y'all go ahead and send me your petition. I'll sign change.org, make you feel on better. But when it comes to what I do, when I get to the streets. When I train all my social workers and my staff, and we go into the community and we start transforming minds, I'm transforming the minds of my people first. That's all I'm saying. And it doesn't mean that I'm a bad person for putting my people first. Everybody else doesn't. Yeah. Asians don't come and take on Black issues.
Right.
And sit right in the
Black neighborhoods with the nail shops and don't give you no money to fix none of them drug houses that been damn near exploded by the police, but they want your money so you can get your nails done. Absolutely. And the hair stores. So absolutely.
And the Arabic that owns the dirty chicken spots ain't donated to your community too. They come into your community and they're selling you cancer causing dirty behind chicken with their busted behind fries and their pizza, and we going to eat it and they going back to their nice little house and their nice little community, and y'all still killing each other. That's exactly what happens. And they look at us as niggas and everything else.
Right. And no, there's been no other race that has in large got out there and fought for Black people's issues and been outraged by the things that happen to us. Never. You can't give me one example. I'll wait.
How about never?
Y'all can inbox me. Look, inbox me and Michelle Kochek on Facebook, go to Fly Nubian Queen, because y'all not going to damn find one. Other races don't do that for us in large and make a noise about the injustices and the oppression that happened to us. But every time we say we focus on ourselves, or we should, then they talk about us like we're the bad guy. We don't have compassion because we don't care about other people. Let me tell you something. It is human nature for you to first care about yourself, yours, what belongs to you, your people, and who you are, your children, and the things that will affect you first and foremost, right? If you don't do that, then I'm just going to tell you, there's a whole lot of, mental not understanding and all of these issues that we have from this country and the things that they put on our brains. So we suffer from Stockholm syndrome a lot in this country, which makes us go and fight for the very people who keep us oppressed, because somehow we think that they're doing us a damn favor, right? There's nothing wrong with caring about yourself first, right? Like if there's 3 people that gotta eat at the end of the day, I'm gonna feed my baby first. And if there's enough, I will share with someone else. But guess what? Mine come first. And there's nothing wrong with that. And I'm tired of people making us feel that way because we like, oh, Black people, we should be concerned with our people first. And all of a sudden we're people who don't care about everybody else. If that's what you want to say about me, then guess what? Michi don't give a damn. Guess what? I don't care about nobody else. How about that?
We suffer from cognitive dissonance too, because I've heard so many competing beliefs.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Amen, amen, amen. And I think that somewhat shows the corruption that Sherry and Nicole have experienced. So,
Nicole, Sherry, either one of you guys have a closing comment?
I just choose not to engage, just because it's like you can yell at me, you can argue at me, you can accuse me, you can whatever all day long, but I still stand by the fact that I believe you can care about both. They are kids. I think you can do for both. If there was a march for Black kids, I would go to the March for Black kids. If there was a march for what's happening with the kids who are coming over the Western border, who don't necessarily all have to be Mexican, there are a lot of them from Central America, et cetera, then it's like, then I'll go to that one too. I don't think it's mutually exclusive. And when it comes to, I will agree that you will take care of yours first. I took care of my daughter. I took care of her on my own. Her father is from Ghana. He's back there now. He was in prison. I didn't get child support. She graduated from college with honors. She's getting her ed doctorate. She's not pregnant. She's not in jail. She's not doing anything crazy. I put my effort into her and other young Black women, and they're doing also very well too. So it's just like, it's not like I don't care about Black kids, but I don't see why I can't care about other kids as well. And to be, like talked about, like I don't do anything. That's just when I'm just like, I'm not going to engage anymore. So it's not about who wins the argument. It's just about, you can't argue me into submission. That's all. I'm not submitting.
That you didn't do anything, Sherry. You the one that told us to go do something about it when we was talking. I want to say though that I love you, Sherry. I hope that you're not mad. Let me show the view in public. Like, sisters can have conversations and disagree. These are all my sisters right here, right? I love Sherry and everybody on here, and we're gonna still be having another round table on Friday, and we're gonna all be hearing different topics. Some will hit us in different ways than others, but know that when we walk away, we all walk away from here in love. So nobody said you didn't do anything, Sherry. So I did want to ask you a question real quick though, because you were saying there are 2 different events. I can go to this one and that one. Let me ask you a question. If there was a Black cause going on at the same time, these immigrant cause was going on. My question is, if you had to pick and choose between Black something and Hispanic or immigrant something, which one you going to? That's all I'm saying.
Now, I'm also gonna like throw something else in here too, but go to the Black cause first, but we all know that there's gonna be more than one event for the immigrants, so I could just go to the other one later.
You know what?
And why would there be more than one event? Why would there be more than one event?
I agree.
Okay. So when you say that we don't care about other people's children, that's not what we're saying. We are just saying that other people get a little more love than Black children. So when we want to talk about people showing respect, we want to talk about people loving our kids and showing our kids the exact same justice that they show everybody else and putting them on Al Sharpton show and all of this other stuff. You know for a fact that it's not true. That's the only reason why you would go to the white event, because you know they're going to have several events. The Black one is probably going to be about 45 people. All of them going to be Black, and ain't no white people going to be there. So I don't even understand why we're still having this conversation. Both of y'all proved us right.
But what I would really love to see is like more conversations about what you brought up about the 500 Black women who are missing in DC. I think that this platform is like one of those that we really need to have those more in-depth conversations, like why are Black children being taken out of the home versus these kids, and like bringing some statistics. Why are there so many Black girls who are missing in Chicago and it's not being talked about on CNN or this one or that one? Why don't we know anything about this? I think that it would be extremely productive to use this platform for those reasons, because I didn't know about that till you told me today, because it wasn't in my Facebook feed.
Well, this is a perfect point to say to everybody watching, share this video, go to flynubianqueen.com, right, and subscribe, and also hit that like button for this page, because we actually have been talking about those things. I did a video about the girls in Chicago missing and coming up murdered. I actually went and found some brothers in the community that could clarify how many sisters were missing, that there were organs that were gone from that girl's body, right, that they could tell us the real truth that the media wasn't telling us, right, and I believe that reached about 270,000 people. And that's because y'all shared, y'all liked, and y'all participated. And that's the only way we're going to get these things out there, is if y'all continue to do that. So I'm speaking to the viewing public at this point. Share this video, right? Subscribe, because somebody on here, we're all contributors. We may talk about something you don't want to hear, but I guarantee you that there's going to be somebody on here talking about something that needs to be talked about, right? This is all I ever talk about is Black issues. So
see, I like this, because now we have a resolution, because that has been our stance since we got on tonight. It was a matter of where do we put our energy at? That's what it was about. So it doesn't mean that what's going on with immigration doesn't matter. No one is saying that. But where do we put our energy? So to hear Sherry say that she didn't even know about the women in DC, that's substantial. That's not small. That's not petty. Where are we putting our energy at? Because these things are not getting covered. We're not talking about sexual abuse and happening in our homes and how we have to protect our children. We're not talking about our children being taken from our homes and how there is poor legal representation for these mothers who are having to fight the system to try to keep their children. I worked child protection services for 6 years. I know what happens. And the reason why I left because I refuse to be a tool of white supremacy on purpose. I refuse to do it. And that's why I left. But we're not having that discussion. So no, we're not going to change what's happening in our communities if we don't start waking up and recognizing how we're being used as tools for the system of white supremacy, and how we are continuously getting the short end of the stick because we have become tools. Tools because we're so divisive, we're serving in jobs that don't serve our people, and this is how we have these high incidents and these high rates that are happening. Don't ever get it twisted. It's not just white cops locking us up. It's a system that is being used, that even Black people are being used to perpetuate it.
Right.
I'm done. I ain't got nothing else to say. I'm done for real.
All right. So I think we had a great conversation tonight. Varying perspectives, good dialogue. The comments were good. We do the Fly Nubian Queen Roundtable. I would normally say on Fridays at 3 o'clock, but we have proved that we can do it at any given time at the drive. So you just never know when we're going to do one. But like every one of the beautiful queens has said, please make sure that you go and like the page. If you're watching this on Facebook, go like the Facebook page, definitely like it, share it, subscribe. But also go to the external platform, www.flynubianqueen.com. Go subscribe there. If you subscribe there, then we get to reach out to you personally. If you've enjoyed this dialogue, if you've enjoyed this conversation and you've been like, oh my God, I want to get online, I want to tell them how I feel, going forward, we will start emailing the subscribers on the Fly Nubian Queen platform to let you know when we're going to be live, but also give you a link that you can actually chime in. So you won't be watching us on Facebook, you'll actually be in the live with us. And we can actually take your questions, throw you on screen, make it a lot more personable for you. So go outside of Facebook and go to www.flynubianqueen.com. Again, each one of these queens is a contributor to the Fly Nubian Queen Facebook page and channel. Everybody talks about something differently. We have cooking, we do motivation, spiritual, politics, health and wellness, beauty, law, business. There's something for everybody, and it's from a Black perspective. So definitely go subscribe. I want to thank Dr. Shauna, Michelle, Patrice, Sherry, and Nicole for joining us tonight, for being with us tonight for the Queen's Roundtable. I don't think you're going to see us until Friday at 3 o'clock Eastern, but it just depends on what's happening tomorrow. In the news, we don't know. But we definitely want you guys to take care tonight. Patrice, go ahead and send them out. I love your close off.
All right, thank you guys for watching. My name is Naturally Treese. We have Miss Michelle, we have Miss Shauna, we have Miss Nicole, we have Miss Sherry, and we have Miss Lene. Don't forget to be blessed, be bold, be bossy. I believe in you. You believe in me. The rainbow ahead may be hard to see, but we got to hang on to this dream and never let go. Bye-bye.
Bye, guys.